Hey everyone, it's John Isaias here from the-automator, and today we're going to demonstrate something we were working with the client. And the thing is, a lot of people that use a StreamDeck want to also use AutoHotkey or something else, because StreamDeck, you can execute things in it, but it's not always the simplest thing to program in. But with AutoHotkey, fully flexible, right, you can do all the stuff. Most people, what they do is in StreamDeck or any sort of a tool, you'll map the button you press to a hotkey, and then AutoHotkey, you watch for it. But if you have hundreds or thousands of things, that becomes crazy, right? So it
Right.
became, how do we figure out a way that makes it easy so we don't have 80 different hotkeys we're watching for or 80 different scripts we're watching for to trigger them? Like, how do we do this?
Right. And that's exactly the problem. We have a radiologist that works with us, and that's exactly the problem he has. He has an Excel file that has a bunch of predefined text that he wants to send, and they have kind of like a title for that text. And he wants to use StreamDeck that when he presses the button, it sends that text. And he doesn't want to go through them and adding each button individually. There's something that we're going to do. I have a code that is going to do that without a hotkey, but then the question is, how can I do that without a hotkey without creating hundreds or thousands of hotkeys, which is the problem he has. Well, so for the demonstration, what we did, we created a temporal folder here on the C drive just to make it simple, but I will explain what we're going to do. So the idea is, if your AutoHotkey script is compiled, there's one step that you can skip. But if it is not compiled, you can do what I'm going to demonstrate here. The thing is, remember that whenever you drag and drop a script onto AutoHotkey, it launches. Well, whenever you press a key on your or a button on your StreamDeck, you can tell it this. You can say the path to where AutoHotkey is at. Right now, I put it in the temporal folder just for simplicity. And you can do that too. You can move a copy of AutoHotkey into a simple folder. But if not, you just put the full path to AutoHotkey there. Then the full path to your script location. And then the parameters that you want to pass to your script. And those are three parts to this that you just have to switch them to what you need, right? The path
I
to AutoHotkey,
figure
the script, and so on.
make that much wider and flatten it into one line so they understand also that.
Right. If you use the command line, you can do exactly this in one line. You just in CMD, for example, or the run window right here, you can do that too. You can just put the path to AutoHotkey, pass it the script that you want to launch. Those two things right there is the same as you drag and drop in the file and dropping it on top of it. It's the same. But this parameter, then I can put whatever I want in there, and that will be passed to my script. And that's the part of the code that I want to show. Is not too complicated, but here's what it looks like. Whenever you pass parameters to a script, they get appended into this variable, which is an array. It is an array, and with array accessor like number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can access the first parameter, the second parameter, the third parameter. And keep in mind that the parameters are split on the spaces. So if you want two parameters, you have to put one word, a space, and another word. And then the first word would be on number 1, and the second word would be on number 2. That's it, right? But for now, we're just going to stick to one parameter. The script simply, right now, the param.ahk just simply message boxes whatever you pass to it. That's it. And now on the StreamDeck, how you're going to define it is exactly as we defined. So we're going to select the location of where AutoHotkey is. You just select AutoHotkey, say open. That's the path to AutoHotkey. You see that it automatically put quotation marks around it. We don't need them because we don't have spaces in the path. That's the reason why I put in the temp folder, so I don't have spaces. That's it. Now, the second part is the script that I want to execute. As I mentioned, is the path to where the script is at. I already have it, so I'm just going to put a space there, put that. That automatically is passing the script to AutoHotkey. And now we're going to say, hey, parameter 1, for example. When you click away, now the button is set up to go ahead. When you press your button, it would do the action that we just set it. And let's call this simple. And let's press the button. So I press the button on my Stream Deck and I will get a message box saying parameter 1. And if I change that text to test, and now I press on it, I will get test. And that's how simple it is. Later on, what you can do with this is multiple things. Like, for example, in this particular case, I have the path to AutoHotkey, the path to the parameter. And notice that now I have a string of text that contains spaces in it. For that reason, I put that parameter within quotation marks just to make sure that they are not seen as individual parameters. And now when I press that button, I will get, oh, the message box is, there it is. It was on the back of the Stream Deck, but that shows the full string as I was expecting. Now, what happens if I don't put the quotation marks, which is the same thing? So path to AutoHotkey, path to parameters, but I didn't put the quotation marks there, right? What happens then? When I do that, you will only see the first word because, as I mentioned, it is splitting on spaces, right?
So Isaias, now leave that one, hit the OK, go back to your code, and instead of showing arg1, show arg2 and rerun that script.
Right, so let's save it. I'm gonna, right, the one without quotes, right? So that's the one that I'm pressing. And now what I get is the word is, which is the second word in that string, right? And I could do that. Actually, how I usually parse parameters is with a for loop for argument in arguments, for example. And I can message box each of them individually, right? I could say that. And that would go one by one and display them as they are. So this is the first one, then the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and so on. That basically the idea when you're doing this, I would definitely use a switch statement on each argument. And if the argument is something that you care about, for example, then do something. Oh, if it is this or that. That's exactly how all other programs do it. They have cases for different parameters when you say H for help, right? Then if it is that, then I will message box the help, whatever it is. That's how that works. So at this point, I'm not going to go deeper into this. As you can see, it is a very simple topic. Now, the problem that we were having is that passing parameters through StreamDeck, not to a normal executable, but to an AutoHotkey script specifically. It was a little bit tricky, but once we figure out that we have to run the script through AutoHotkey, then passing the parameters, then it became easy, and then just know the rules about the quotation marks and the parameters, how you're passing them.
Yeah, so also to point out, this is AutoHotkey v2. In v1, those arguments get passed very differently. So if you're using good luck. No, it's just very different. So make sure you're using v2. v1's deprecated anyway, so honestly, I'd recommend you use v2. So hope you enjoyed that. Please like the video if you learned something. It really helps us out. We both have Stream Decks, and they're great ways. And this, again, avoids having to have all these different hotkeys that you're trying to map in here and then go watch for them in AutoHotkey. You can, and as Isaias just showed with those multiple parameters, you don't have to just pass one thing. You could have, you know, the same script used for doing very, very different things, which is incredibly powerful. So thanks for watching. Cheers.